I'm going to speak for a moment on desires, on what is the nature of desires, because we come to this world, and there they are. I mean, we have desires, and so much of what spiritual teaching and literature tries to emphasize is the transcendence of desires, of bodily desires, of ultimately desires of the mind, and ultimately even spiritual aspiration must be surrendered. And if you follow out the course of mystical teachings and the profound world religions, that desire is our enemy. It's the fire we burn in. It consumes morality. It hijacks our thinking. It controls our body. It leads us in paths to do harm to others, and ultimately can cost us our soul. We've all heard that. We're all well aware of that material, I believe, especially if you've been associated with any amount of spiritual thinking. So is it so? The Buddha said that everything's burning. It's all transitory. It's all temporary thrills. That life isn't really, I don't know, if you read the Buddha, a little bit of a depressive. But not to knock it. So desire, we want things. You ever been sitting around and you wanted ice cream, you wanted potato chips or whatever. Maybe you're more healthy than that and you wanted carrot juice. But is this then the goal of spirituality, to become desireless? What does that look like? Do we enjoy being around people that are desireless? That don't have spontaneous cravings? That don't act deeply from the body? That can't be completely human and also safe and responsible? Isn't that what we ultimately like about people? And isn't that what we ultimately like about ourselves? Being childlike in our response to our innate desires of the body. So that wouldn't then a state of liberation be, and I may be getting on shaky ground, being able to follow our desires so long as they don't injure another? That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. The desires of the body, from the best I can see, they're obviously not good or evil because they're innate and they're there. The body has to eat, and getting is the perfect mechanism for living. You're hungry, you get. So we learn getting from the body. It's our first great teacher, and to welcome it in that respect is a major step in spiritual understanding. That, the earth, or what could be called the source of passion, used to have a very dignified position in spiritual understanding. It used to be Mother Earth. And I think that's a very appropriate title. That what we have to learn from this Mother Earth, that from a spiritual perspective, our bodies are spirit. They're not engendered. They're not any of that. They have the capacity to be everything and nothing, eternal and ever-present. So that we come to this world and form a body. And the body is a creation of both the earth and our spirit nature. And we have a mother and we have a father. The very male influence, that's the patriarchal order that spirituality has taken over the last couple thousand years, born of war, which is always a good indicator that you're going to get a very patriarchal system. That's not good or bad. That's not slamming men or women. And it was ultimately, a necessary outworking of the external conditions. So here we are. We have a very patriarchal system of spirituality that teaches like a stern father to disregard all pleasure, all immersions in the pleasures of life, and to seek only achievement, attainment, status, and recognition. That's a very patriarchal thing. And in this fever, we have lost a lot of what the maternal wisdom was, what the matriarchal system had to offer. One half of the great support structure seems to have taken an enormous hit. So that we're just now entering a time, I think, where we're beginning to blend that back into this a holistic spiritual understanding. That there's nothing wrong with life and the impulses of the body. There's nothing wrong with being completely a creature. There's nothing wrong with fully embodying the impulses of the body. But that we grow. You see, the matriarchal teaches us about the rebirth of life. It teaches us about the cyclical nature of reality. So that to call something absolutely wrong, and this is a problem with patriarchal systems, is they get lost in absolute thinking, is that we have to take everything in terms of what the process and growth is. So that making absolute rules about what, don't hold true when you're 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Life will change immensely in that time. And the worry is, if you don't have strict enough rules, if the consequences aren't clear enough, if the eternal punishment isn't well seared into your mind, well, then you're going to fall off the wagon and be prone to sin, as though we were mechanistic creatures here, just waiting for outside external programming, and that we didn't come in with an internal soul and our own karmic propensity. So, we're luckily in a time, well, I think we have the potential and an opportunity to really integrate these understandings. That to be fully present as a human being, believing that we made a choice to come here, and that life is for the living, and that, it's that thing where nobody's on their deathbed and says, geez, I wish I'd have just followed the rules a little more. I wish I had just, been in the office a little more, achieved a little more in life. You know what we think about? This is just from what I've seen. Connections. We think about who we're connected to. How we were, the times in our lives when we were fully engaged in life. We think about those we love. We think about did we care for those we loved? How were we to people whom were given to us to care for them? And where are the people to whom I was given to be cared for? Life is so much sweeter than we give it an opportunity to be for us, and can become profoundly intimate, and can lead us by the hand, and loves us profoundly. We are the children of this earth. And just to not wander too far down there, we see strange things too. We see the worshiping of nature, but not a worship that extols, that tries to illuminate innate meaning. But a lot of these worshipers never go into the woods. They never work with living things. They write books about living things that they don't know. And it's hard for me to take a hardcore environmentalist seriously if their life's not about living things. If they just go to protests, if they just this. I mean, do they have a garden? Do they spend time in the woods? Do they know where the herbs are? Do they know what the trees' names are? Do they know what best climate they thrive in? Do they know how to transplant things? Do they know how to tend for living things? So, and I know there are plenty of those kind of environmental activists who are working out a profound love for the cycle and humanity of it all. But we have so much in the form of appearance or glamour over essence that people want to promote causes and ideals, and they don't speak on the essential nature of things. And that's kind of the trap of patriarchal systems, is they become idealistic and they become absolutists. And the extreme of that is crusaders. So I just want to speak to the unity of it all, that there is nothing to fight or resist. There is only a deepening understanding to be had. Life is our teacher. This world is a fine teacher. What we are in our nature is a fine teacher. We need to listen to our inner teacher, and we need to listen to the wisdom of this world. And that's all we really need.